Welcome to another interview in our FM Expert Series. We've got Tom Crame with us. Hi, Tom. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Hello. Tom is the head of Global Workplace at Amnesty International, and Tom's going to share with us just his experience, really, some of the opportunities FM has offered him in his career, and also some of his experience working with teams abroad, and I think more than that as well. But Tom, start us off. It's good to hear from you. Thank you.
Hi, yeah, happy to have a chat. Yeah, I mean, when I started in FM, I think like so many people, I didn't quite know what it was, didn't know it existed. And that was about 20 years ago. And I started off with a 2-week temping job, emptying a basement for organizations that were coming together in one building. And I thought it was crazy. They're paying people to empty buildings or move furniture around. And then that 2-week temping job turned into 2 months and 2 years, and 20 years down the line, it's a career, and it's been great. And being able to get here from emptying those buildings, emptying those basements, temping, has been, I guess, different stages and phases of taking opportunities and grasping and getting to know the vast expanse of what FM has to offer, and how varied it all is. Not just in terms of a whole career, but day to day as well. And for example, starting off, when someone said, "Do you want to do an EBOSH general certificate in health and safety?" Oh, no, why would I want to do that? But doing it and going through that and getting it showed me a different way of looking at situations, at people, at processes. And afterwards, I found myself walking down the street, looking at scaffolding up against buildings, assessing, is that cross brace right, and is that kickboard in the right place? And I'm not a professional scaffolding assessor, but it just gave me a different perspective on those kind of things. And then that led on to other opportunities and different levels of responsibility and trust with projects, and building all that into my work. And gradually, that led to me being able to apply for and get the role at Amnesty International. And now in my role as head of Global Workplace, where that's led me as well, and the opportunity of working with people all over the world, places which I wouldn't necessarily have been to, whether it's Dakar in Senegal or Sri Lanka or Palestine. It's been so varied. And just thinking about where I was 20 years ago and what expectations I had, and not even considering or knowing about FM, it's been an incredible journey. And taking those opportunities, and I guess enjoying the trust and confidence that my managers put in me to enable me to step up and go forward. And think about where that's taken me, and then in turn trying to think about how I repay that in a way to people in my team. And in terms of the international element of it, and experiencing different ways of looking at FM, different expectations, different resources, different requirements, it's kind of made me realize even more that FM is all about people as well. And it's essentially a social science, and looking at it from different people's perspectives and different people's requirements allows you to then shape and tailor and hone what it is you're offering them. And certainly with the international element of my role, it's abundantly clear that what works in London won't necessarily suit someone in Nairobi or Mexico City or Washington or whatever. And not just navigating that, but thinking about the different regulatory frameworks that are in place in those countries, and what different laws require, and how different contractors and service providers behave and react to incidences, whether it's fitting out an office or, I know, setting up a contract for photocopies, stuff like that.
It must be fascinating, the differences. It must be fascinating.
It is. It's fascinating. Sometimes it's hugely frustrating. Because I mean, my language skills aren't great, unfortunately, but it's interesting. Let me reading contracts, whether they're leases or contracts for services.
Yeah.
In English, you get to learn what these different clauses mean and those phrases, and that's exciting by itself, getting an insight into landlord and tenant law and stuff like that. But even building contracts and fit out contracts in different jurisdictions, and the expectations and how different contracts are weighted in favor of maybe the landlord in one country more so than they are here.
Yeah.
It is hugely fascinating, sometimes frustrating, but you always think, okay, well, that's what it was this time. I can take that forward into the next project, whether it's in this country, or at least be aware of maybe similar issues in another country that have cropped up with this one. But always taking advice from my colleagues on the ground who live and work in those countries, and our office managers there who know the inside out, how things do operate. So it's also being very aware that sitting in London and having a huge amount of experience doesn't always put me in the best position to know what is right, and deferring to those people. And I guess in a way that's where the focus on putting people at the center is hugely important. Another thing I remember is when I started out and having courses and workshops about working with people and delivering a service, people, they kept being referred to as customers. Who are your customers? And that really annoyed me. So I thought, they're my customers, they're colleagues, some of them are friends, but they're not customers. That's what you get in a shop or a restaurant. But learning more and working longer and longer in the industry, you realize, no, that's exactly what they are. Or call them what you want. They're people who need a service and you're providing it. And the only way you know if you're providing the right service, whether it's a space or process, is by talking to those people and asking them. And whether I started off managing hard FM in the office, in an office, and just because you're managing an air handling unit or a fan call unit, and it's full of ductwork and wires, it's only there because it's there to serve the people and the organization in the space. And if you lose sight of that, then you lose sight of why you're getting up in the morning, I think, and turning up and doing stuff. And in a way, well, I mean, with COVID at the moment, that's brought that even more to the fore, understanding what people's different appetite and perception of risk is, and what people are happy to do and happy to go to the office. Do people want to continue working from home or come into the office, and for what reasons? And starting to understand people's motivations for being in an office and what kind of office they want is, that's going to shape immensely what we end up offering in the coming months as well. So all that experience in the past is going to be useful for the future, I hope.
And it's months and years, isn't it? This stuff isn't going to happen quickly, is it?
No, it's not. And what we have ready on day one for people coming back to the office won't be what necessarily we need for day 2, day 3, and probably not, certainly not day 50. Who knows how it will develop? But thinking back and the projects and the things I've experienced in FM, some of that, it gives you a good grounding in dealing with these crises and incidences. You can never fully prepare you for exactly what to expect, because no one really knows, but it makes you realize you can deal with stuff, and if you call on people around you, then coming together in that kind of collegiate collaborative way, you can find solutions for things. So I guess the main things I really learned are about embrace those opportunities, take from them what they can, think about where they may take you in the future or where you want to go to, but always talk to the people around you and the people you're serving and providing things for, to make sure that you're giving them the right stuff.
And you, with your, many of us sort of fell into FM, and it sounds like you did. I certainly did. Is it now a profession that you're proud to say you work in?
Yeah, absolutely, it is. It really is. Because it just enables so much, and certainly working for Amnesty and seeing how we can enable the human rights work, and the support we give to those researchers and campaigners is great. And personally, it's I find that rewarding. I'd certainly maybe struggle personally if I was working for a bank or something like that. I'm not interested in that profit side of things. But yeah, I'm hugely proud of it because it is providing a fundamentally important service. Whatever that ends up looking like in the future, you know that what you're doing is enabling an organization for whatever purposes you want to serve.
And ultimately making a difference, and that's what I suppose any of us would hope to do. So that feels like a very natural point to say, Tom, thank you very much. That's a really, really interesting insight, and with your experience, I think people will take a lot away from that. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.